All right, so look, man, this is the 10 most evil British gangsters. I said this on my last video about British gangsters, man. They ruthless, they cutthroat, and some of the most gangster people of just all time, just period, for real, for real. Anyway, we hopping straight into it. Make sure that you sub to the channel. Make sure you like this video, and if there's any other videos like this that you want to see me react to, make sure you put them in the comments or Instagram link. You can DM me them, or my Discord link. You can DM me on Discord, or there's a tab where you can put it in my Discord. Make sure you get me these videos because I definitely want to keep reacting to stuff like this. Anyway, let's hop into it.
Sit down. These are the Kray twins, Ronald and Reginald.
Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be looking at the 10 most evil British gangsters.
The only difference between you and me, Freddie, is that sometimes my horses stand a chance of winning.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
I'm confused. I'd have been like, bro, why you say they the Kray twins? Why are they sitting behind me, flicking a lighter and stuff? Like, what?
This list, we're looking at both individual gangsters and the notorious gangs themselves. The entries are in no particular order. Let us know in the comments which ones you have heard of. Darby Sabini.
Tommy Shelby. I missed you at my club. I was at the races.
Sabini.
Fans of Peaky Blinders will recognise the first face of many Blinders alum in this video. Darby Sabini is Tommy Shelby's nemesis in Series 2, but in real life, Tommy Shelby didn't exist. Sabini was a British-Italian mobster based in London, who was primarily involved in bookmaking and moving stolen goods, the latter of which he was eventually arrested for in the 1940s.
It's like sometimes I smell something, but it's not a smell, it's just something isn't right.
And he really did come into conflict with other street gangs based in Birmingham. While he was noted for his gang committing nasty razor attacks, he was also an important figure to London's community of Italian immigrants, often seen to be protecting them.
Mr. Sabini, we'll do everything we can to deal with this man.
Deal? Did you say do a deal?
I didn't mean that.
The Hawkhurst Gang.
Did you say do a deal? Hold on. Whoa. Oh, them is the words that came out of my mouth, but you kind of flipped them around and kind of like make it seem like you put words in my mouth. No diddy, but like we're doing everything we can to deal with this man. He said, "Did you say deal?" It's like, do you say no? I didn't say deal. When you did say deal, but it's not like that type of deal. I don't know. I don't know.
You say do a deal?
I didn't mean that.
The Hawkhurst Gang. Britain's south coast was once a mecca for smugglers, and the Hawkhurst Gang operated throughout Kent and Sussex in the 18th century. Though this was a long time ago, they're still known for their violence, which includes the widely publicised trial of two members, John Mills and Jeremiah Curtis, for the horrific torture and murder of a man called Richard Hawkins. Curtis, though the evidence against him was damning, had already fled to France and escaped conviction. As well as murdering people they felt had slighted them, the Hawkhursts brought masses of contraband into the country in the form of valuable stolen goods like tea and rum. Bobby Cummins, still alive?
I understand they was like some of the biggest smugglers, but why would you have to smuggle tea? Well, because it said tea and stolen goods, so the tea was. Do British people like tea that much that you would? Because a lot of people over here want to smuggle in drugs. You smuggling in tea sound crazy, bro.
As of 2023, Bobby Cummins denies to this day that he was a gangster in his youth. He was, however, involved in many crimes and maintains a record as the country's youngest armed robber. When somebody turned on Cummins, perhaps out of continued fear, the police closed in and he was...
How do you become the youngest armed robber though? Like, what type of record, what type of, like, accomplishment or record is that? Like, how old was he when he first did this first robbery?
As the country's youngest armed robber. When somebody turned on Cummins, perhaps out of continued fear, the police closed in, and he was convicted and sent to prison. Cummins has, however, turned his life around since leaving prison, and for years headed up a charity called Unlock, which helps reformed, convicted criminals. He's talked openly about his history of violence and the murders he's been involved in. The Noonan brothers. For over 20 years...
That's another thing I don't get. How could you talk about or give interviews about all the stuff you did, including like murders or murders that you've been involved with, and be out and free? Like, what kind of what kind of law enforcement system do y'all got over there, bruh? I don't know why I struggle with that word, justice system. That's probably butchered. But anyway, he said, I've been drinking. The
violence and the murders he's been involved in. The Noonan brothers. For over 20 years, between the 1980s and the early 2000s, Damien, Desmond, and Dominic Noonan controlled Manchester's criminal underworld. They rose to power by controlling nightclub bouncers and security, but branched out into many other criminal enterprises too, including bank robbery and dozens of murders. The police spent years trying to put the Noonan family away, but they either evaded coppers or came out of prison even worse than when they went in. Damien died in 2003, and Desmond in 2005, while Dominic remains alive, though now imprisoned for over a dozen sex offenses.
Damn. Over a dozen essays is crazy. So how did the first two pass away? 2003, 2005. And then why did they pass away before the person is out here committing over a dozen essays?
His son, too, is serving decades of time for a car theft operation. Peaky Blinders. Though they're a household name now thanks to Stephen Knight's wildly popular period drama, the Peaky Blinders were, for a long time, a lesser-known Brummie street gang.
I think, Arthur, that's what I do. I think, so that you don't have to.
And they never reached the lofty heights of the Shelby siblings, all of whom are fictional. In reality, the Blinders were involved in bookie rackets and gambling, which would have included fixing horse races, much like Tommy Shelby.
Anyway, we're Peaky Blinders. We're not scared of coppers.
That's right.
If they come for us, we'll cut them a smile each.
Perhaps the most notable thing about the Blinders was their sense of style, with tailored suits making them stand out, as well as various signature weapons. Though historians believe that the story about them sewing razors into their caps isn't true.
Crown of a prince. Soon to be king, I'd bet.
The Billy Boys. Also featured in Peaky Blinders, the Billy Boys of Glasgow were an extremely violent Protestant gang.
Hello! Hello! We are the Billy Boys!
Glasgow has long had a reputation for violent crime, and its large number of aggressive razor gangs in the 20th century is one reason for that. Because of Irish immigration, Glasgow gained a large Catholic population, which led to religious, street conflicts between brutal gangs of Catholics and Protestants alike.
These gentlemen are the Billy Boys. And me. I'm Jimmy.
They were led by Billy Fullerton, who'd go on to be a notorious fascist figure in the UK, aligned with British Nazi Oswald Mosley. Eventually, the Billy Boys and other razor gangs were dismantled by Glasgow police. Arthur Thompson. More Glaswegians. Like Bobby Cummins, Arthur Thompson has always denied that he's a criminal, claiming to be a businessman instead. However, Thompson has never tried to turn his life around or get a clean slate. You may now have heard him called the Godfather of Glasgow crime, a nickname given to him years later. His family were primarily involved in drugs and money lending, and Thompson was numerous times the victim of attempted murder, though he eventually died of a heart attack in the 90s. Horrifically, he was, for a while, known to crucify debtors who couldn't pay up. The Addams family. The Clerkenwell Syndicate was involved with every crime you could be thinking of, everything from armed robbery to card skimming, and even, more surprisingly, art theft. Based out of Clerkenwell, London, the Addams family remains a powerful group, though nobody's too sure how powerful they are exactly. Their wealth may be in the hundreds of millions range, and they're believed to be heavily involved in drug trafficking. The police took years to put the family's leaders, Tommy and Terry Addams, behind bars, and somebody, believed to be associated with them, was behind the grisly jigsaw murder of 2010. MI5 is still investigating many members of the syndicate. The Richardson Gang. Active in London in the 50s and 60s, the Richardsons were the biggest rivals of the Krays. They were deeply violent in their own right, however, and were known particularly for torturing people.
For the benefits of the jury, on whose behalf were you operating on this side of the river?
Come on, Charlie.
Begun by brothers Charlie and Eddie Richardson, they were eventually joined by one of the UK's most famous gangsters, Mad Frankie Fraser, a vicious enforcer who had his own reputation for ultra-violence.
Well, Charlie Richardson said we're to knock the granny out of you, Reg.
They were eventually tried in a widely publicised torture trial in 1967 and sent to prison, though Charlie escaped for a while. The Richardsons and the Krays had paid off so many coppers that the government had to enlist police forces outside of London to go after them. The Krays.
Sit down. These are the Kray twins. Ronald and Reginald.
Even with the likes of the Peaky Blinders.
Why you sitting behind me, fam? Like, bruh, I'm not, you sit down. Hold on. Before I sit, why you got two brothers behind me named Kray? Like, no, him and him, I don't want to be around them two, especially not behind me.
On the scene, Ronnie and Reggie Kray remain, indisputably, the UK's most infamous gangsters. The Kray twins ruled the East End of London for roughly 10 years, becoming a force of nature in the capital.
Yeah, mate. Good?
Ooh. As well as conducting their joint criminal enterprise, they rubbed shoulders with the rich and famous of the day, often entertaining big-name Hollywood stars in the upmarket West End.
No, go on, let him in, he's only little.
Things will go out of hand.
As well as perpetrating violent crimes themselves, including some horrific murders, they also had many equally violent enforcers to keep control of London.
Now, before we start, I've got a little joke for you. You'll love this one. Paranoid schizophrenic who walks into a bar.
They were taken down by one dedicated detective and lived out their lives.
Bro!
They were taken down by one dedicated detective and lived out their lives in separate prisons.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Watch Mojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
Man, listen. There's a few of them brothers that was just like, alright, this is a little crazy. But then there was another few that was just like, just people that was just, I don't want to say thieves, but people that was just really trying to make money, where they said they didn't have a little hint of violence to them. So I don't know how they were the 10 most evil British gangsters, but you know, I guess money bring the access to have those have different things either take place, stuff to happen, stuff that get things to happen to people where you might not have had to have your actual hands dirty. But there was one where it was just like a few where it was just like, bro, one dude they said was smuggling tea. It's like, it said drugs too. It said smuggling tea and contraband. But it's just like, bro, how is he one of the most evil is what I'm saying. So the title was kind of clickbait, even though a lot of it wasn't. But some of them, it's just like, you probably could have named it like 10 most infamous British gangsters. But when you put evil in there, I thought people was gonna be doing a lot of evil type of stuff, like the Kray twins and a few others was doing. But all in all, man, that was exactly what I was expecting. Besides a few of them not actually getting categorized for evil activities, but definitely wild, man. Like I always say, like I've been saying, the UK, whatever, got a lot of people that's just cold-blooded, man. Let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you smack that like button. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.